McDonald. He's an artist. And Joshua, thanks for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So you've been drawing and painting since you were a kid?
I have. It kind of started in probably grade school. Yeah, I was never very academic, and I wasn't a studious learner. Art was implemented kind of as a way for me to be able to take tests. I couldn't read and write very well, and a lot of my book reports were audio on tape, and I was asked to draw pictures to go along with my book reports.
So you loved to paint and draw, and you got to do it as part of your assignments in school.
Yeah, it was kind of like the only way that I really had to be able to express, stuff going on, because, verbally, I mean, I couldn't write. I couldn't write well at all.
Yeah.
And I struggled with it pretty much my whole life, and I still do today. But it kind of bridged the gap between my illiteracy.
Yeah.
And, along with it, there's a level of, inadequacy. Like, I'm unable to be like other students. So it kind of, you feel a little inadequate and a little left behind. But because of being able to draw, I mean, it definitely kept me connected and plugged in with the rest of the students.
Yeah. I think I mentioned to you, my husband struggled with reading as a kid, and both of my sons have had reading difficulties, but I think it's probably less common or more common than people think it is. Or when you're struggling with it, it must be pretty intense.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I often found myself kind of in trouble a little bit because of always being so behind in school. And, art for me was definitely a way to receive positive attention. And it kind of affirmed, I think it definitely affirmed my decision to continue to always go back to art.
Yeah.
I mean, throughout my life as it evolved, I always kept going back to it, where I was never, successful with it. I was never content with it. And then, one day my life took a turn, and it definitely became something so in front of me that I couldn't deny it anymore. I had to express how I felt.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for art, I'm not sure I would have expressed it any other way.
Yeah. So you brought a piece that you said was your first piece that said to you, "I'm an artist."
Yes,
Do you want to show us
I
that?
did actually. Somewhere around 2010, I was going through a pretty rough struggle, and again, just needing to express something on how I felt, and making my friends and family understand. I had put this together kind of with no real intention of ever continuing to do art on this level, but after doing it, I received so much feedback on it, and I've actually, at that time, to have a grown man cry looking at it, it really made me step beside the entire situation and examine what was really going on in that moment. And to not only see that I had expressed myself, but another human was having a really emotional connection with that piece, made me realize that the power of art is beyond just images scratched on paper. There's a lot more going on. And I mean, from this one piece, it just continued to evolve into so much more.
Yeah. So you were working with pen and pencil when you did that?
I was. That piece is actually in number 2 pencil.
Okay.
Yeah.
We all know about those pencils.
Yup, the good old yellow ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and when did you get into painting, or had you been painting?
Painting actually came, I want to say I was probably 22. My mother had suggested taking a landscaping class at the Barrett School of Arts. And I began probably 3 weeks in to kind of, again, just be unconnected with it. It wasn't really my thing. and I never really followed through with it. I ended up becoming incarcerated for a length of time, and probably 2 years into my incarceration, a lot of the officers had kind of, taken an interest into my art, which primarily was done in color pencil. And everybody kept coming at me and asking if I'd paint murals for them. And it just kind of, I was let out of my cell one day and given some paints. And by the end of the week, I had a mural on the wall, and I surprised myself.
Yeah.
And the rest, in a way, I often say was like history, because after that one mural, I spent about probably 5.5 years just painting murals, pictures, clipboards, desks, lockers.
Oh, really?
A lot of portraits, yeah.
Yeah. Anything you could get your hands on, you painted.
Oh, I wish. I mean, I wish I could have brought them all home with me.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the level, the level of intensity when you're focused is just, it's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. Have you continued to paint murals?
I'm actually pursuing them. I definitely am. I've been in conversation with the Barrett School of Arts. I am looking for grants at this time to continue some, and I do have some prospects out there that I'm really excited about for the spring.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So tell me, what came after that sketch, after that
after the
drawing?
sketch, I, again, with emotional connection and seeing how I was able to express myself, I kind of entered into a little bit of, my introverted self, and trying to self-examine some of the things in my life that I could correct to try to make better decisions in life, to not lead me to the situation that I was in. And in it was a conversation that my mother and I often had about, however long it took someone to walk into the woods, it'll take them that long, if not longer, to get out of the woods. And through that, I started with the Lost Children series, which were children lost in the woods. And this was one that, it actually was the first one. And not long after this one, I had then came up with another one, because I also have a sibling, my sister. So again, just kind of with my mother in mind as the audience, I wanted to kind of reach her and let her know that I understood that, a lot of our talks and conversations had came through for us.
This one seems a lot more hopeful than the first one.
There's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, a lot of light, there's color, there's flowers. Yeah.
It's actually one of my favorite.
Is it?
Yeah, I enjoy it. Probably because of the brightness.
Yeah. Now, you have some also here that you said are just a little bit more political, more. So let's talk about that.
Right towards the end of my incarceration, I had been painting a lot for officers and administration, and through the two, there's always a struggle. There's an unspoken clash of authority inside of those settings, and a situation had happened, and a lot of people were hurt, and I felt very particular about it, being aware of the situation and how it actually happened. And I mean, through it all, I had, again, my best shot of expressing my feelings and everything through that situation was through art.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people in the community were lashing out. They were getting in conflicts with other inmates and officers. I decided to make the decision to, again, just express myself through art. Let me try to be positive. Let me be pro-social. Let me do something that might be impactful and expound on not just how I felt, but the whole situation at hand. And in it, there was a major lack of responsibility on the facility's, part. And through it, I came in with a piece of, officers and sergeants kind of sticking their heads in a hole. And it's out in the yard. There was a situation over the phone, but at the end of the day, there's a saying in corrections, care and custody. That's kind of their job title, is care and custody, right? So my question was, where is the care in care and custody? Because the whole situation was a major oversight and safety that night. And a lot of people got hurt, and had a few preventative measures happened prior, it never would have occurred. the people wouldn't have been hurt, officers wouldn't have been hurt.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of evolved into, again, me just realizing all this other stuff behind, inmates, and that we're humans and we're people. And the thing about New York State is, as corrections has evolved, it has improved and gotten so much better. I mean, there's, a lot of great things through education, through programs that come about. And I realized that in that time that, the New York State inmates of today, they're everybody's community neighbor of tomorrow. I mean, most inmates are coming home, and when they do come home, what happens to them?
Yeah.
So I evolved into a Inmate Lives Matter flag, which again is represented here. And this one was actually done in color pencil. And after doing this one, I realized I had to try it in paint.
Yeah.
And just continue to express, all the feelings that I was having in those couple months.
Yeah. This is a beautiful painting. I love the motion. I love the wind there, the sun coming down. But it's also pretty intense because you have the fence and the barbed wire and everything. What were you saying? What was your emotion with this?
Through the whole experience of that time, within those couple of weeks, this piece primarily to me was a way of like solidifying that, yes, I'm an inmate, I'm incarcerated, but I'm still a person, I'm still a human, and there's only so far that being incarcerated can go, and it goes as far as I allow it to go. And through being incarcerated, let me just keep it on the eye. I lost some of my identity on who I was, because everything is so uniform that, it was just a way of solidifying that just because I'm an inmate doesn't mean I'm not a human. I'm not a person.
Right.
That I have a right to be, and, I'm a good and successful person. And this was my best shot of illustrating it and expressing it.
Beautiful painting. And I just wanted to mention, you recently designed an invitation for a show.
We did.
Yeah.
We did Art from Within, which was my mentor and a very good friend, Pam Wright. Pam Wright and I had kind of put together a show with an idea, which really primarily she did all the footwork and the hard work. I mean, I kind of just got to paint and show up. And there was a bunch of others of us involved, Jessica Bex and Gabe and a few other people. And it was just, it was a way to show what goes on from, from these incarcerated situations where, not all opportunities are taken advantage of while we're incarcerated. Art primarily being one of them, where there really is not many art programs left inside. So most of the art that goes on is by individuals with their family. If their family's, capable of sending them art supplies, they're able to experience, how great art is and how it can be used as a tool therapeutically, education, the whole nine.
Right. I really hate to say this, but our time is up.
Absolutely.
It's been so interesting.
Great.
Thank you, Josh from McDonald.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.